Good evening, Eagle Nation. Welcome to our Monday, September 11th, 2023, 6 p.m. regular board meeting. Call to order, 6:01. Can we have attendance roll call?
Davis,
Here.
Laster,
Present.
Piles present, Kennard. Here. McCarthy,
Present.
Wester,
Excused.
Evans. We have quorum.
Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Madam Vice President, Trustee Evans did tell me over the weekend that she had, this is her anniversary, so that she would not be able to make it. So I assume, I don't know if that's excused or not, but I'm just letting
Definitely
you know.
excused. Family first.
She said 47 years or
47
something.
years, something to be celebrated. Excused. Now we are moving on to the acceptance of the agenda. Be it resolved that the Board of Education accepts the September 11, 2023 meeting agenda as presented.
Support.
Madam President,
Yes, Trustee Laster.
may I make a motion to amend the agenda to add Senator Camilleri in his presentation today?
Do I have support?
Support.
Support. Madam Chair, also, I'd like to ask the board to change under paraprofessional, independent paraprofessional, that is just, it's a union position, so I ask that that language be striked. And I thought there were two. Is this a different agenda than what was emailed?
There are two.
There's two what? Agendas?
There is an independent paraprofessional for STEAM
Paraprofessionals.
and one for Romulus L.
Right, so that they just, right, strike the word independent there.
Do I have support?
Support.
Is that two motions?
The amended supersede, so it's the motion to amend, and it was supported.
Motion to amend the agenda by Secretary Powell, supported by,
Or by Laster, supported, made by Laster, supported by Piles. You got it.
motion by Laster, supported by Powell.
Which one is that?
For the amended agenda,
Which one?
To,
to add Senator Camilleri to the agenda. So the motion to accept the agenda as presented was moved by McCarthy, supported by Davis. Davis,
Which motion is this?
as presented.
As presented, yes.
Piles, no. Bernard?
Yes.
Laster?
No?
McCarthy?
no.
Okay, so the motion to accept the agenda as presented fails. So the next motion is to accept the agenda as amended, adding Senator Camilleri and striking the word independent from paraprofessional to reflect that it's a union position. Motion made by Laster, supported by Piles. Laster?
Yes.
Piles, yes. Davis?
Yes.
Kennard?
Yes.
McCarthy?
Yes.
Motion carries to accept the agenda as amended.
Next on the agenda, we have public comment.
Does anyone else have a sheet? Right. Ms. Hampton.
Say, don't do that. Okay, good afternoon, and it's good to see everybody here. I'll keep this short because we have guests, and like my mama used to say, don't unload the dirty laundry when we have company. Move on. The question is always say, let's move on. Don't talk about what happened in the past. But as I had reflection time and vacation time, you can't move on when people won't admit what they did and how they did it and why they did it. I'm looking at Dr. Edmondson, and I feel you. I feel you. Like Dr. Martin Luther King said, how long? Not long. If Dr. Edmondson decides I can't take it anymore, we'll be back to where we were before. In Utah, where I was for a week and a half, I thought about I saw the mountains and the goats, and I said, Romulus has an opportunity to be a goat. You know, those goats, Coach, Vice President McCarthy, the opposition sends in that team, those couple of players that can slow down the game. And you got those two on your side that you can put on your team that can, break that up so you can do what you do. That's what the three are doing. They're interfering. They're causing chaos still, the same questions. I was looking back, and I make sure I know my information and know what I'm talking about. I go back to board meetings of the past. Since Ms. Pyle's been on the board since 2017, she's asking the same questions 2023. Same thing, same questions, anything to slow it down, to prove that she's relevant, and the other three, same thing. I'm asking them, and I continue to ask, resign. You lost. He's back. And nothing you can say now, nothing you can do now will change it. At my church, in my church, or at my church this Sunday, people were talking about the cookout and the golf outings. But then they said they saw Dr. Ben. He looks tired, Rita. I said, hey, he's fighting from a 50,000 feet drop in the water. He's trying to bring Romulus back. I'm asking, we can become a GOAT. This district can become a GOAT. The greatest of all time. I say, do what you have to do. Let's do what we have to do. Stop allowing them, board, to talk endlessly. I shouldn't be coming from a board meeting at 9 o'clock in the evening at 9:30. Do what you need to do. You all have to speak up. Thank you.
Next on the agenda, presentation, Karma Jones tribute by State Representative Dylan Wegala.
Members of the board, governing board, and Superintendent Edmondson. Speaking of goats, are the greatest of all time, we wanted to come today to present to Karma a tribute from the state of Michigan for a couple of different reasons. Here, I'll have the coach present. Number one, my understanding is most points in Romulus history. Is that correct? For girls basketball, and I expect and challenge you to repeat that as you go into your senior year. Also, several different awards from the Free Press. Second, I gotta memorize them. Second team All West, as well as BCAM Academic All State. So I just wanted to come today and recognize the work that you've done to get to this position, but also I want to say, I've known Coach McCarthy here for a couple of months, and she just raves about your leadership, and I think that is more important than the statistics, bringing that to the community. And I'll see if Senator Camilleri wants to say anything.
I used to play basketball in high school, but I'm sure you can beat me even today. So based on these stats alone, I'm really excited about your leadership and your trajectory going forward and putting Romulus on the map. You and your team have done a lot. I came and saw a game in the winter. I think it was maybe in February, even at the beginning of last calendar year. And I'm just excited about all that you and the rest of the team are able to present this upcoming season. We're here to support you, and we're excited for your future. So I just want to say congratulations. You want to say anything?
Okay, I gotta put it on my phone. Sorry. Okay. Yeah. First off, happy birthday, Mom. And I appreciate my mom for leading me all the way, never giving up on me, even through the rough times, and taking me all my tournaments, never missing, really barely one, unless you couldn't make it, because it was important. And I love you. Coach P, I thank you so much for allowing me to play for your high school varsity team for 4 years straight, and it was never a dull moment. And I appreciate you. Oh, and thank y'all for supporting me on this long journey.
I just want to thank you, Dylan and Darren, for all that you are doing for our community, recognizing our schools. I truly appreciate your partnership and leadership. Karma, you are an amazing student athlete, and it means twice as much to me because she was a student athlete that we walked up through our program. She started at Romulus Middle School. She played on varsity as a freshman. So to see her blossom is just a testament of all her unseen hours. And I know that you are going to continue to soar to new heights. Happy birthday, Mom. Thank you for being an amazing mom in our program. We honestly
No, we'll say the same thing for you two. If you have to step out, that's fine, okay? But I'm going to say to everybody else, these two, I've been in leadership for 20 years now from a principal all the way up to a superintendent. And there's a filter that I have, which is, you know, when somebody is really for you and you know who's really about talk. Both these gentlemen have come and met with me, and they're different. And I mean, to me, they're not politicians, though they're different. I look at both of you and I'm like, man, you guys are going somewhere, so I need to get a picture of you in advance. But they really are doing things and asking questions that most don't ask. And maybe it's because they have the background of both being educators. And it's great to have a voice, a Romulus voice up in Lansing. I'll tell you that. It's great to have that. So I want to thank both of you, too. You have an open invitation. We gave you the shirt. I expect to see it on you. Not necessarily when you go in someone else's community. I get it. But when you're in our community, you can certainly wear that with pride, because us is for real here. Us, we can't do it without you. Us is for real. So I just want to thank you two gentlemen and all the work that you're doing and that you will continue to work, that you will continue to do. And I'm certainly going to press the issue on some other hot topic buttons. So thank you.
Next on the agenda is the consent agenda. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approves the September 11, 2023 consent agenda as presented. Matters listed under the consent agenda are considered routine in nature by the Board of Education and will be acted upon by one motion. There will be no separate discussion on these items. If any member of the board or any citizen requests discussion of an item, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will become the first item of business under the report of the superintendent portion of the agenda. A, approval of the minutes of the Board of Education, August 28, 2023 regular board meeting. B, approval of the bills for payment as submitted by Jewel Claire in the amount of $514,182.63. C, approval of the personnel actions as submitted by Human Resources Director Kevin Brock. Employment, Andre Thornton, physical education teacher for Hill Creek Elementary. Isabel Rizinga, general education social worker for Romulus Community Schools. Karen Gibbs, independent paraprofessional for STEAM program at Romulus Middle School. Gabrielle Carter, independent paraprofessional for Romulus Elementary. Brenda Averett, counselor for Romulus High School.
Support.
Madam Chair, that language for independent was stricken,
Oh, I'm sorry.
so that, and I am requesting the minutes and the bills for payment to be removed.
Okay. Okay. So we will move those items under the report of the superintendent. And it was support by Davis.
Yes.
Roll call vote.
Davis?
Yes.
Piles, yes. Kennard? Yes. Laster?
Yes.
McCarthy?
Yes.
Motion carries.
We are now at the report of the superintendent. Dr. Benjamin Edmondson.
Thank you. We have Jewel Claire here, who I think is here to address the bills for payment. Go on, Jewel.
I sent an email, but it was probably, you were probably in the car on the way here or something. It was later in the day. So I just wanted to pass these around, and what it is these checks are for $0, because what happens is we write so many invoices to those vendors that it fills up the first check, and you'll see that it's a 0, and then it goes to the second one. It's always been, our system's always done this. So if you notice on the check register, it's always like Canon or somebody that we pay gobs of invoices for. So I brought this example, if you want to pass it around. And then we did have one check that is not on there because it was printed upside down. And then the next check, it was printed correctly. So it's obviously a zero, so there's no approval necessary for zero checks or a check that never really went out. We have all these for the auditors to look at when they come and ask for them. I'll pass this around too.
Can I move on? Because it's
I don't
2
know.
minutes into my report.
I don't know. Do we vote on it? Does it get voted?
I don't know
on?
why it was voted down, so I don't know why it was removed.
Yeah, it wasn't
So-
voted down. It was,
Yeah, I
yeah.
know. It wasn't removed.
So it was just removed for, okay, a couple questions. One are the check numbers that weren't on the register, because I know that usually if there's a number omitted, we would have like a copy of the voided check or whatever in the packet. The other question I have is for the bills for payment that were submitted in this packet, the last sheet, one, I guess from Comerica. It was from Comerica, so what my question is, that's something we hadn't had before, like something printed from Comerica. We usually, it would be in the smart system where we can see who these payments were made to, where we're not able to see all of that on this. And then there's stuff in here that we don't need, like the sweeps every night and that. So my question was, we're able to see some of the stuff that is for, like, I think I saw EduStaff and stuff like that, but there's other information where it just says, it reads check substitute, $3,984, or there's amounts, $4,848. Normally, that stuff would be in the ACH payments, but we would have those vendors listed so that we know where those payments are being sent.
I would have to look at what you're looking at. But if you have particular questions about a single item, I could address it, but I don't know what you're looking at.
So no, I guess, like, okay, so this came directly from Comerica.
Yeah, I
And it
printed it on
has,
their website,
right,
yep.
so it has stuff that we don't need, but then stuff that we do need, it doesn't say who the payment was made to. Where, remember when you were here before, the format we had on the first page of the check, before we saw all the checks, there'd be a list of what went to ORS, what went to, Michigan tax, what went to federal tax. So this, it doesn't give us the information we need, and then it gives us a bunch of stuff that we don't need. See,
Well, it
it'll
should
just read
have
like check.
ORS, it should have State of Michigan on there.
Okay, so let's pick like, there's not, maybe it cuts off, because see, it just reads check substitute, but it doesn't say who it was paid to.
Okay.
So there's not, they're all ACH payments, but it doesn't,
See, like that says State of Michigan.
yes, some of them do, but then there's other ones that,
Okay. So I probably included stuff that I shouldn't have.
right, because
But the
there's
other one
sweeps
does
and,
have all the, it should have all of them that have it on there. And the checks, we've never put the zero checks on the registers, because every single check run we have them, where we've paid a big amount to a vendor like Canon for all our copies. Every month, we're gonna have that, and any big, where we're paying, like each school has, like, say, an electric bill or gas bill, it'll go on to the next check. And so it voids the first one and lists, this isn't it, but this next one, it voids that check, that first check out, because they're really getting paid by the second check. So it puts all these invoices,
Right.
and then it's a zero, but this is the check that's the whole total. This is what's gonna clear the bank. So I can't get those zeros to show up on the register. I could do a separate
Yeah, no,
report that says
yeah.
zero checks.
no, I mean, we don't need that. Just remember how in the check register, it would list like all of the payments, and then it would have the total. But that's okay, we'll talk about that later. This was really confusing, though, because it doesn't, it lists all these payments, but not where they went to. So if we could get that format that eliminates all the sweeps and the stuff we don't need to see, but then it lists thank you.
But the check register Doesn't it have the totals and?
It's something the finance committee can work with them on.
Right here.
Um,
Doesn't it have the totals?
Madam Vice President, may I?
What do you mean?
Like
Yes.
you said.
Yes, but I mean, as far as like,
Yeah, that, from the
yeah,
bank. I see,
yeah, that's what I meant, but thank you.
Madam Vice President, may I?
Yes.
I believe that this is something that can be given directly to the Finance Committee, where we can address some of these issues, where that information can be more comprehensive for us to bring back to the board instead of bringing it here at this time, because it seems like it needs to be some more information. And so we'll be more than happy, the Finance Committee of the board see fit to handle this.
Thank you, Trustee Kennard. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Claire. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Mr. Brock, there was a question about independent paraprofessionals. Just need some clarification on that.
Yeah, so those are independent paraprofessionals funded by Act 18. So the verbiage should be independent parapros. They're part of the collective bargaining agreement. So they're funded by Act 18, so it's independent paraprofessionals. They're not independent. They're not like separate contracted workers. They're district employees as independent contractors. Or, I'm sorry, independent paraprofessionals, not contractors.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam
We didn't approve. Thank you.
There was-
Move
there
that
was
the, I move that the Board of Education approve the bills for payment as submitted by Jewel Claire in the amount of $514,182.63.
Support.
that Laster.
Motion by Treasurer Davis, support by Trustee Laster. Roll call vote, please.
Davis,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
Kennard,
Yes.
Piles, yes, McCarthy,
Yes.
motion carries. And then-
Next, oh,
I'm sorry, for the minutes, we had some, and I apologize, I didn't see this before. We had some motions that were removed for the agenda, but we have to show where we brought them back, like the, I'm sorry, I lost it now. The, I think the bills for payment, and there was another item that we removed but didn't reflect the action, so I'm requesting that we just bring that back at our next meeting for approval, and I'll submit those. I apologize, I didn't see it earlier.
okay, no problem. Next on the agenda, report of the Director of Teaching, Learning.
Oh, Superintendent.
You didn't say anything, I thought you was done.
Well, I just don't want that 9 minutes to count against me, just so
Okay,
we're
go ahead.
clear. Just for the board, it says enrollment update. I've given you some information. These are preliminary right now. What I want you to know is there is a difference between enrollment and attendance. So enrollment shows that we have more students, and you still have people that are in the system MyStar. And our responsibility now is to find out where the families are, where the students are. But what I put in front of you are actual students in seats, so that you can see who's come. What's been revealed to me in this time period is that we're having some issues with attendance. Okay, the state requires you to take attendance. It doesn't seem like it's that difficult, but it is. It's seemingly difficult for some teachers, whereas most teachers are doing what they're supposed to do. So, Ms. Bales, make sure you tell Becky that I did say that most teachers are doing what they are supposed to do. Okay, but there are some where we're having some issues. And it becomes pretty problematic when you don't know who's there, and I don't want to give you wrong numbers. So what's in front of you are students that have shown up. If you take a look at that graph, not graph, if you can look at the chart, I guess I'll call it a chart, you'll get to see that we're still having attendance problems. Kids that are here today decide not to come Tuesday or Wednesday. Okay, it's an ongoing problem. We have community assistance. I'm going to talk to you about that at some point, but we're definitely trying to address the issue that we know. It's an issue. As much as we try, it's still an issue. So just wanted you to have that information. You can ask me questions at a later date, I would prefer. There's just preliminary, so you know who's showing up and who has not. And we're on it. We have Kathy Andrews on it, as well as our building secretaries are on it, making sure that we're getting accurate information, particularly if I bring it up at the board table. B, truancy update. We met with the 34th District Court staff. I was very excited to meet with Judge Oakley and Avery Taylor, who is I believe is not truant officer, what do you call him? Well, I guess like a truant officer, and Prosecutor Greco. And they met with the community assistants, plus me and Dr. Gardner, and we have a very good platform that we're trying to launch, I guess, for lack of a better word, I'll call it a platform, to address the attendance issues. So what we did collectively, and Judge Oakley is very excited. He said he likes the way that I handle business on this issue in particular. But we're at 3 absences. When students are absent 3 times, they're going to meet with the community assistants. The community assistant that's assigned to their building will meet with them and their parent. So it's not just the kid and it's not just the parent, okay? Because we had the conversation, if it's a second grader, I mean, come on, really? So we really want the parent there to discuss the importance of attendance. That's at 3 absences. And we have a system that alerts us now. Boom, we know on 3. 6 absences, this is exciting to me. The parent is meeting with the city officials. We have Brian Oakley will be in his garb, as well as the prosecutor, and we're going to speak with parents informally but firmly. Informally, that's at 6 absences. At 9 absences, a warning gets tripped, and the parent will get some kind of communication from us letting them know at 10 absences, you're now in the court system, and that's the official. They will get a citation written by Romulus Police Department at 10, and then they have to come into court. I challenge you as a school board, where we are right now, we're going to move forward with this, but my question becomes, and I'd like us to actually have conversation at the table. Maybe not now, but I'd like conversation at the table. Just where do we stand? After 10, what happens? What happens to the kids that are absent 30, 40, 50 times and we move them forward? They don't have the skills, but we move them forward, then the next teacher gets blamed for the NWEA results, or the current teacher gets blamed with the NWEA results because the kid hadn't been there but 50 or 60 times they've been absent. It's a problem that I don't know how to handle myself. I'm asking for the community and the board to say, what's next? I think at some point we should have something mandatory. I don't care if it's Saturday school. I don't care if it's summer school. It's got to be something, okay? I don't want to hold retention over a student, but I do say, if you don't have the skills, why would we dare move you forward? When you have the skills, we're going to move you forward, and I get to come with you when I don't have the skill set, but I just don't know. I don't know if I'm courageous enough to do what I really want to do. I just don't think I'm courageous enough because kids will leave, families will leave, go to another district where anything goes. So I'd like us to think about that as a board so that we can come back at the board table and have a healthy discussion about what are we going to do. But I just wanted you to know in terms of the court, we're ready to go, and the community assistants are ready to go. And it's still a work in progress with the community assistants, okay, all 4 of them. We're looking at getting a 5th because the sheer number of attendance issues is unbelievable. So we're still trying to figure out, we know the roles, but we want some clarity in terms of we need a couple of weeks to make sure that we launch this right. And I keep saying if you don't launch something right, then guess what? You don't get a second chance. And you've heard me say it at the board table. So we're on that. We're working every week. I am their direct supervisor. I'm meeting every week with our community assistants, looking over data, and meeting with Kathy as well. Kathy Andrews is sitting at the table, and we're all talking about what needs to be done, okay? I don't want Officer Cofield going to houses like that, but at 10, absolutely. And he's been tripped up. There's a trip in the system at 10. He knows what he's supposed to do. So I thank you. I just wanted to tell you what we're doing there to try to address the issues. I will get you data as soon as I can, but right now I don't have any to give you. And it's the first month. See, I want to thank all of the parents and staff that supported this Saturday event, Bratz Barbecue and Back to School. Great event. I can't quantify for you. We didn't have a check-in. We didn't have anything like that, but I can tell you I was grilling for 3 straight hours, nonstop. And the line kept going, nonstop. I want to thank the board members that were there. I certainly want to thank the committee that worked hard on that. And I just said to my cabinet today, I'm done. I'm done putting on events. I'm good. I'll see you next year. But I'm very happy that the community supported that. I think it was a very good event. Kids left with T-shirts. Kids left happy. No nonsense, not on the news for silliness. It was well started on time, ended on time, cleaned up, and now we can look forward to next year. I think we had at least 87 of our families that signed up for Forgotten Harvest. So that should say something to our community. We are a community that needs Forgotten Harvest. And if you know somebody, please contact me or Ms. Camilleri there, and we will get you to the right person if you know somebody that needs support. This is the CTE meeting with State Senator Camilleri. I was all excited. He was like, "It got $1 million." Actually, it was 1.6, so I'm going to correct him and just make sure it is 1.6. But there were strings attached. Not many, though. The strings are that we had to have a plan in place and sent to the state by this week. I don't know if it's Wednesday. Is it Wednesday, Doc? By Thursday. So we met, we invited people from the community, we invited board members to come on out to this meeting so that we can prioritize. And what we did was we prioritized two things moving forward. And again, we're not going to launch it if it's not right. It's just nobody said that we have to just spend this $1 million right now. We'd be silly to do that because we're not ready. But we are looking at skilled trades and construction management. And the construction management is because we have vacant buildings here. You start knocking some of those down or retrofitting them, we wouldn't retrofit it. But, you know, we could get some things demolished with some help, and then we can start building here, perhaps building affordable housing, not low-cost housing, but affordable housing, or something that we could sell. There's just a number of things, so we thought that would be really good for us. And then the CNA health occupations. We want a return of that. We want a return of that. And for me, that's very important because we're an aging society anyway. But it's important, as I said at those meetings, that our students leave with a certification. If they don't leave with a certification, it's pointless. It's pointless. So there's a focus on that. We're going to be meeting again, ongoing to start working on a plan that we think is viable, which includes kids, because we know you're going to ask. Somebody's going to ask us. So we want to bring kids in to talk about these things. We're taking trips. We have some trips in place. And this also aligns with our senior internship program that's getting off the ground now, where we are working with businesses in our community who will host students that are seniors. Because as I said to you before, that a community that doesn't know the value of their high school or a high school diploma is a community that's in trouble. So we're going to know by the end of this year if our kids are ready, okay, ready to work. So we're working on that, and that aligns with the skilled trades, but that aligns with our soft skills class too that we're implementing with Dr. Pachoda. So all of these are kind of in concert together. The CTE meeting plus our internship program. I will be glad in the next month to provide the board a presentation, brief one, with Karina Keith, who will talk to you about the internship program, but we're very, very excited about that, and we do have businesses and companies that are very excited about hosting our students. That'll be coming. Let me make sure. I'm gonna move away. Boom, 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 boom. Protocol. I know I sent this to you all today as a board. If you don't mind, I'll do it. I'll get somebody here from MASB who can work with us on protocol. We've got to have it, okay? Yes, I'm like Miss Rita. I don't like airing my dirty laundry, but sometimes it's important to do it. Okay, we have to have some protocol so that everybody is aware of what's expected from everybody. I don't want to be tripped up on an evaluation saying that I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I'm certainly going to get someone, if the board allows me and authorizes me, to have a protocol meeting. We did it 2 years ago with Rod Green. It doesn't have to be Rod Green, okay? It doesn't matter to me as long as we have a protocol meeting, because we're getting tripped up on the same things, and I think we all know that. We're getting kind of tripped up. Ms. Kennard and, Trustee Kennard and Trustee Laster have a great idea on how to handle and manage questions, but I don't quite have that yet. But I think, we're on the right page, and maybe that could align with the protocol. Once we get protocol, we can figure out really how to do it, okay? I do have an interest in answering questions, but some of them are so arduous, it takes forever to get that information when we still have to do our day-to-day. And day-to-day is answering questions, but we need to figure out how to manage it, how the sheer volume. So I'd like to have that conversation when we have our protocol meeting. If the board will allow me, I will move forward. I know it's important to, I think, all of us at this table. We've got to have this protocol, okay? And it's well overdue. So I'd like to take that and run with it and find out what dates work for you. But it's only about an hour and a half, okay? 2 hours at the most. What's that? So only about an hour and a half, hopefully, where we can just work together, okay? That's what a protocol is. We're working together. We're not working against each other. So I'd like to move that forward. And then the last two things that I have is, if you have not seen the beautiful eagle that was done in wood, I don't know if you got a chance to see that. We're trying to restore, it's not that it's gone, but still restore the pride and the eagle. Were you all right, Coach, with the eagle? Did that, I know you had something to say, put a shirt on it or something. I don't know. These two. So we have this wonderful eagle that's housed in the high school. Please take a look at it. And we also have a bulldog at the middle school, because we're trying to bring back some pride and bring it to kids. It's not bring it back, it's to instill pride for your school district, the way that many of you Romulus alumni have for Romulus. So you'll see those, great investment. They look beautiful, so you'll see those. And the last thing, I sent you an email. We've had some major issues with busing recently. The video was horrific. What we saw was just really horrific. And I know where I struggle is this: how do you punish a kid for their parents' behavior? Okay, we've been talking about that all day today. We want our kids to come, but if bus drivers don't feel like they're supported from us, then it's a problem. And I don't know how to manage that. Okay, so what do we do? And I don't know. I am open to any suggestions. We met today talking about this for over an hour. I was engaged with the parent yesterday, the day that it happened on Friday, and I have to support the bus drivers too. But I also want the kids to go to school. So I don't know how to do it. So when board members are asking me, yes, I do want kids in school. You know that. I want kids in school, and I don't feel that kids should be penalized. But how do we do what I saw and what we saw? My whole cabinet saw it. We all saw the video. Not good, and I don't even know what to do. I'm struggling with this one because it's almost unprecedented what happened. And I called the bus driver and the aide yesterday. I called them at their house, and I talked to them a little bit. The one that answered, I talked about it, and the parent is in crisis. But that's not the first thing. We've had another issue, too. We've had similar issues. So if you have some suggestions, shoot Eve an email, not me, I'm going to be clear on that. Shoot Ms. Camilleri an email. I'm open to it. If you want to meet with me, I'm open to it. I absolutely am, okay? So think about that. And now I lied to you when I said that was last, because it wasn't last. Suspensions. I saw something that was forwarded to me, that an email went out about 10-day suspensions. It's a lot. That's too many. And I feel like for myself, when I'm gone for 2 weeks and I come back into work, I feel like the world has moved on without me. So we're going to be addressing that. I've always felt that way as a superintendent, that elementary should have a certain amount of suspension days, middle school a little bit more, high school's the worst. I don't like fights. I always feel that you should throw the book at a kid for fighting. But I also feel that 2 weeks is a little bit too long. A week from school is enough. So I assure the board that I'm going to be meeting with Dr. Gardner, and we're going to talk with our principals about having some consistent and clear and succinct, as I sent to you, clear and succinct process, okay? As a principal or as an administrator, you should have the flexibility, okay, based on, hey, has this the first time? Is this the third time? Have I warned you 4 times? But there should still be time frames. And when I worked at John Glenn High School as the assistant principal, we had some things that were clear. 3 to 5 for this, and you had the latitude, 3, 4, or 5. 1 to 3 for this, because the biggest one is insubordination. I get cussed out, you get cussed out, you get 5 days, I get 1 day. So I'm going to work hard to get that cleared so that the board knows and that we have consistency in this district. Thank you, thank you. On cue, thank you. That's it, folks.
Question, Madam Chair.
Yes, Secretary Powles. She has a question.
Dr. Edmondson, thank you for all of that. My question about the attendance that you had talked about, thank you for doing the work in meeting with groups. When will our students and families be notified of this, and how will they be notified?
The first thing is they were going to be notified after I notified you. That was the important thing, to make sure that you have it. My goal is to get it out next week, and you already know. So even with the voicemails, I'm kind of putting that to a stop too. But they're going to get it in writing. Okay, I'd like it in all the formats that I've been doing: text, email, and voice. So nobody can say that they didn't get it. Okay, it's going to be clear. I just asked for support because something like that, for some families, that's pretty drastic, but I don't know what to tell you. So it's 60 absences. I'm about sick of it, and I said we're going to address it. So my goal is to get that out next week. Wanted to make sure that I went in front of you and my team. We always try to poke holes and stuff to make sure that it makes sense. And we had that whole team committed. Judge Oakley was very excited. The prosecutor was very excited. Our team was very excited because we feel like we're finally doing it. We're finally doing. But let's all remember that that is incumbent upon getting information from teachers and secretaries to make sure that it's accurate, okay? So we also have addressed that we have families who have 3 and 4 kids. So we're still, when I say that we're still trying to figure out how to do this, if I have middle school, but then a family has high school, middle school, and elementary, who's gonna attack that? So we're still working on that aspect. Does that make sense to you? Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure it made sense to you.
No, it makes, yes, it makes sense to me. What I was sitting here thinking is that when I was doing student teaching, in some of the school districts, they had, and I'm quite sure our technical person probably can help out in this, but there are some applications that the district could look into in terms of that can assist our teachers in taking attendance, because I had to take attendance, okay? And it was something that the administration and those particular district boards work with, and they work very well. I can't tell you right off the top of my head right now, because it's been a couple of years or so, the name of the applications, but I'm quite sure our technical person can do some research and find out those types of applications that other districts are utilizing that can assist.
Well, I think our attendance system is fine. It's just, I think teachers get inundated, having been one myself, like the beginning of the week, you get kids coming in and out, they're here and there, and then you're like, oh, okay, you look up, I didn't take attendance, oh my gosh, because that's the first week, and we're still addressing it, and probably maybe I would hope that this is the end of that this week. But it just allows for the normal chaos that goes on for the first 2 weeks. Now, if this is October and we're still talking about it, we got a serious problem that would be reviewed and revisited. But at this point, I just feel that a lot goes on. You all know it doesn't matter what school, your head is turning because kids are in and out today, gone tomorrow. I got to make a phone call today. Got to call this. It's just a lot. So please ask me. Yeah, I mean, it's just yes. Thank you. That's it. It's just getting acclimated to it.
Dr.
So I know it's still in the preliminary stages, but will there be a difference between when you get the call, your student has missed part or all of the day, like the student was there? Will that count towards 10 days seeing Judge Oakley, or is this going to be just you straight didn't come to school? And also, will we have some type of grace? Because kids, I mean, let's take high schoolers out of it, some of them, but lower elementary, they depend on their parents. And you just said 89 families signed up for Forgotten Harvest. It's not just food, it's transportation. So will we have something for those families that we're not, coming down on them with the ramifications? So I know it's still in the works. I'm just throwing it out there as communication.
Our goal is to give resources to parents. That's why we brought community assistance, not to be knocking on the doors and kicking in doors, you got it. We're not trying to do that. It's on number 3, the first absence, it's what do you need from the school? If we can possibly give it to you. We have a book that has a lot of resources in Wayne County that are available to families, because that's the vision, is that this is a support. We're not here to try to tell you what you're not doing. I don't have time to do all that. But if you reach out and say, hey, we don't have food or we don't have transportation, then it makes me have to think about some other things that we need to do. So yes, now with the high school.
More so if it's the line of communication, then you can work with that versus sending them off. Like if someone is telling you, hey, no transportation, trying to get a lift, things of that sort, then long as it's communicated to the school, it's a little bit different.
That's very important, and I think all teachers appreciate when a parent communicates, so that's what that's about. You were asking me one more thing that was related.
The
Oh,
part or
at
all.
the high school. So at the high school, we have two people that are at the high school, Denise Crank and Herb Buckley. And their job now in the afternoon is when kids are signing out, they have to go to those two people. So there's the level of conversation that has to happen. Okay, there's a conversation if you are gone second hour and you come back fourth hour, or you're trying to sign out fourth hour, you know you have to go to Miss Crank. She's gonna have a conversation about, okay, what's going on? That's the intent, okay? And I appreciate your support with that. And again, we're not launching full-time until we have our meetings. And we're having meetings every week with me. And again, it rests with me, so if you have any questions, I will address it.
Dr. Edmondson, one quick question. Oh, go ahead.
It's okay. I was just going to ask about thank you for, I'm glad that we have that book of resources because that's much needed. And a lot of times people just don't know where to turn. Is that something that we could have those resources posted on a link on our website?
I mean, that book is very, very comprehensive. I don't
Or
know
even
how.
if- okay.
It's very comprehensive.
Okay,
in-
maybe
in
not
what
the
it
whole book.
offers.
I was just, and then I know that President Wester had mentioned for protocol meetings, reaching out to Dr. Colbert to see if, because RISA will provide people, and it's at no cost in good sessions. We used to have series with Dr. Len Razmirsky, and they have different people that specialize in different areas, and they don't charge us for that. So is that something we can pursue for protocols?
As long, I'm going to say this nicely. I don't care as long as it gets done. It just needs to be done. And I know we all are on the same team on that part. Necessarily who is not my issue. It's that, because I'm going to speak my mind regardless of who's there about what I feel is needed. So if you want Wayne Risa out, it doesn't matter. First person that responds, we're in. I'd like to do it this month. I'd like to get this done.
And my
I can
last
try Wayne
question
Risa.
was, is the RPD, were they involved in were they notified about the bus incident? And is that something, I know when we had a lot of people speeding down Barth, there was a police car on Barth daily. I don't know about daily, but is it something that RPD could be near that bus stop for a while, or Officer
I mean,
Cofield, so the
this was a
student
real
doesn't lose?
isolated incident. It was really isolated. It had nothing, the
Okay.
police are involved, but it was just a parent in crisis. And that's all I can say. If a parent is in crisis, they're in crisis. If they're in a mental or emotional breakdown, these are some of the things that go on. So it's not
Okay, so
something
it's
that's been
not- okay.
indicative of our school district. But we still want all parents to know, like, riding a bus, it's a privilege. Okay, treat our bus drivers right. There are like our first responders. You've got to treat them right.
No, that's okay. I can ask you later.
Lastly, please sign up for one-on-ones. We still have some who have not. We do it virtually, informally, I don't care, but I'd rather if we could do the one-on-ones, then we can get a lot of stuff done, okay? And I think it'll move us. Is this point of order?
Point of order, please. Quiet coyotes. Next on the agenda, report of the Director of Teaching, Learning, and Professional Development, Dr. Gardner.
Good evening, Board, and thank you, community. Yes, but I'll bring it closer, it's kind of far. Okay. Oh, take it off. So I submitted a motion for the Board regarding the graduation credit requirements.
So Dr. Gardner, I have a question about that. I know the motion is to go to the 22, to have 22 credits. But I guess my question is, we're at 22 because there was never a motion for 18. So do we need motions that, like, differentiate? I think RVLC is 18, right? So if students aren't on track to graduate, are they presented with the option of RVLC, which then they can still complete high school with 18 as opposed to the 22?
So the decision for high school students to go to RVOC is up to the high school principal and leadership staff.
Okay.
And they've already transferred a number of students to RVOC based on academic reasons and also behavioral reasons. So yes, they'll have the opportunity to graduate with 18 credits.
Okay. And it's looking like our students right now in high school are on track to be able to graduate with 22 credits.
Yes, according to the data I received from the counselors and also Scott Rourke.
Okay.
The number of students who are off track, they are developing customized plans for those students to help them get on track. That is the plan.
And how many?
According to the data provided to the board, for grade 10, we have 22 off track, and I do want to lift up that is down from 68 last school year. Grade 11, we have 39 who are off track. That is down from 45 last school year.
Great.
In grade 12, we have 28. That is down from 47 last school year.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah, let's not clap about that. That's good news, but that's not good news. Okay, just saying.
Madam President, move that the Board of Education approve a graduation credit requirement of 22 credits. Rationale, based on the 2022-2024 or 2023-2024 graduation status data, the number of students that are off track to graduate decreased from the 2022-2023 to the 2023-2024 school year. As a result, the district will expect students to meet the credit requirements of 22 credits. For students that are off track to graduate this year and in the future, a comprehensive plan will be developed and implemented by the high school team, including the counselors, with support from central office to help the off-track students meet the required 22 credits. No budget implications. Exhibits 2023-2024 graduation status data.
Support.
Motion by Treasurer Davis, supported by Trustee Kennard. Can we have a roll call vote, please?
I'm sorry, I have a question. So my concern is this. Our graduation requirements have always been 22, except for when we had the motion in January of '23, because there were students who were identified at being at risk. And so the motion that the board approved was to reduce the number of credits required to graduate from 22 to 18 for that specific at-risk group, which most of them then went on to RVLC. So my concern with approving a motion to have credit requirements of, or graduation requirements of 22 credits, that's already what it is, and do we risk then thinking that that's just something we arbitrarily change or that was changed and needed to be changed back? Could we, about, is it, would the board consider wording the motion that we keep graduation requirements at 22?
Is that a question for me or the board?
I just, for everyone, that we keep the graduation, the graduation credit requirement at 22 credits.
So, Madam Vice President, so what you're recommending is that in the rationale where it says students to meet the credit requirement of 22 credits should be at 22?
No, not the rationale. I'm saying that the motion would be move that the Board of Education keep a graduation credit requirement of 22 credits.
Okay.
Okay.
For clarity, you're just saying add in the word keep?
Yes.
Okay.
So that we're clear on that we weren't going back and forth.
That makes
Because
sense.
there was a lot of, there were some families saying, if you reduce it, I'm going elsewhere. And so we want to maintain, we have never reduced it. We want to keep it at 22.
So let's change the word to keep, is what she's pretty much saying.
Do we have to reread the
So,
motion?
so whoever made the motion, if you'd be willing to,
Treasurer Davis, would you be willing to bless us with rereading the motion?
The whole thing?
no, just the motion.
Just with keep.
Just
I-
just amend it to.
I guess my thought on this is, it's come up like 3 or 4 times. Like, it doesn't matter. We need something that is clear from the board. I mean, whatever the wording is, I need to prevent that this comes up again next year. Like, well, what did we decide? No, this needs to be decided, and it needs to be voted on, whatever it is, even if it's a revote. Doesn't matter that, when you come to Romulus, it's 22.
Yep.
I agree.
You amend your motion to be
22, it's
Two
22.
credits at 96.50.
So it's the same motion, just keep it.
I got you.
Yeah, yep. Thank you for that, Dr. Anderson.
All right, I'll amend my motion. Recommended motion, move that the Board of Education keep a graduation credit requirement of 22 credits.
Support.
Motion by Davis, supported by Kennard. Roll call vote.
Davis,
Yes.
Kennard,
Yes.
Laster,
Yes.
Piles, yes, McCarthy.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, one more update. STEAM Academy. So we have two exciting events. Tomorrow we have the open house for the STEAM Academy. It will be from 5 p.m. to 6:15 p.m. That is tomorrow, September 12th. And on Monday, September 25th, before the board meeting, we're going to have a ribbon cutting ceremony for our STEAM Academy. And that's going to be at 5:30 p.m. on Monday, September 25th. We work on the flyer now with Mike Ellison to make sure the board gets a copy of the flyer for the ribbon cutting ceremony. All right, that is my report. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next on the agenda, we have report of board subcommittees. Policy Committee met today. We have a starting point and suggestion to retain Miller Johnson for our policy. The Policy Committee will work to tighten up certain areas of our policy as it relates to Title IX, board policy, compensation, and attendance. It went well. We had some vested members of the community serving on the committee. It was a great roundtable discussion and a valuable discussion that we had. And that's all that I have for the subcommittee. We will meet monthly. Once a new date is established, I will get the date out there, but we will expect to meet in October. That's all that I have. Trustee Laster, did you have something regarding your policy committee?
Well, the HR subcommittee, which comprises of myself and Treasurer Davis and Mr. Brock, we met via Zoom with Secretary Powles on that Zoom call, and it was kind of just like a foundational, just kind of setting the standard for HR. So we have come up with a suggestion for developing the Google form so that we can have board members submit questions and have a good turnaround time that is collaboratively working together with admin and the board so we can come together to make sure that board member questions are being answered. But of course, it's not overkill with maybe some things that may not need to be answered at that moment. Goals and parameters of the committee, what the HR subcommittee is going to be about. There was a task to reach out to other districts to find out about their HR subcommittees, what they're doing, do they have one, things of that sort. And ensuring that we do our best to answer board member questions because, again, we are the liaison between the subcommittee and the board member, the board getting their questions answered. There were a lot of questions submitted, some this weekend, some by myself. I did ask some questions. So we're going to work with Mr. Brock to try to get those questions answered and then going forth to establish some type of process to get those questions answered. And I feel like with the start of the new school year, we just need to be on the same page with things and just work together. So maybe I guess with both committees that I sit on, the goal is to make it seamless where we are working together, where boards meetings can just move smoother and we look like we're on one accord. Now, we may not agree all the time, but it still can just be questions are getting answered, and then the main thing is information is getting where it needs to be. So that is me. Treasurer Davis, did you have anything? Okay. Well, he my partner.
Anyone else?
No, you did it last week.
Yeah, so for the finance, we, I think at the last meeting that we brought forth some ideas, but we'll be meeting soon after the audit. We'll let the board know when that would be.
Thank you, Trustee Kennard. Next on the agenda, communication from board members. Trustee Laster. Do you have anything else?
Thank you, everybody, for coming. I do want to thank Representative Wagella, Senator Camilleri. Congratulations to Karma on her, that's an amazing award. I hope that we can get more, and I'm very proud of her academics. Bright girl and talented on the court. Hate to see her leave, but I'm just excited that she's going to represent Romulus well wherever she goes. I want to also thank Mrs. Nabosny, Mrs. Detloff, Ms. Garrison, Ms. Everett, Ms. Linderman, and just everybody to get us back where we needed to be for school. I know that was a lot of work, and I publicly thanked you on Facebook, but I wanted to say something here because thank you for all that you do. It is much appreciated, and you are truly the backbone of the schools, all the secretaries and all the counselors, all the hard work that you do. So that's it for me. I don't want to take too much time because we are getting out of here pretty quick.
Thank you, Trustee Lester.
Be careful saying that.
Trustee Kennard?
No, just that I concur with what Trustee Laster has just spoken on. This is going to be a remarkable school year this year, I believe. I had the opportunity to speak to some parents and as well as some students at the picnic on Saturday, and they were most energetic. One of the things that I did notice, it was the picture taking. That was a great idea, and the parents and the students and the kids just loved it. Their lines was just nonstop, and they said that was one of the better attractions. And so I also welcome back all the staff. I think I made that announcement at the last meeting, and we welcome all of you back. Thank you.
Secretary Powles?
Just thank you for everyone who's here tonight on a Monday and stayed for the whole meeting. It's great to have everybody in attendance. Karma Jones, she represents well on the court, in the classroom, and in the community. And for her to have achieved that record after only 3 years and still have a 4th year of high school left, we'll have to get to some games and watch that. And thank you for the work that you've done with her and the commitment that you make, Vice President McCarthy. So thankful for all of our staff, central office, superintendent, central office, building administrators, teachers, coming together. There's a lot of excitement around this school year, and we are all looking forward to great things.
Thank you, Secretary Powles. Treasurer Davis?
Yeah, I just had one thing. I wanted to thank Dr. Edmondson for a very productive one-on-one meeting last week. I'd also like to impress upon my fellow members that have not scheduled a one-on-one meeting with our superintendent that you really should do so. Very, very productive. Our conversation about various things going on in the school district, getting questions answered, pretty straightforward process. And I look forward to continuing with our one-on-one meetings monthly. So, thank you.
Thank you, Treasurer Davis. Eagle Nation. Don't you close it out, Pastor?
I need prayer, sister. For real.
I am happy that we hit the ground running at the start of the school year. There's renewed energy in our school district, and I am happy to see it and be a part of it. One thing that I would like to make sure that is that our middle school has enough electives for our students and fair in offering courses that students want to take. And I'm just saying this as a parent. My son has an elective as a math class in addition to a math class, and it's a very rigorous schedule. So that is something that I would like to get more information about. I also want to thank everyone who participated in the Bronson Barbecue, especially everyone who is here tonight. It is not easy to be an active community member. Sometimes it takes away from your own family and your own lives. And for you to come to board meetings and come to school events, it's a testament to you and how vested you are for our community as well as teachers. I know firsthand how much goes into just planning one day and one lesson, and to spend your time on the weekend coming to a school-related event says a lot. It says a lot about you and your buy-in to the vision. Dr. Edmondson, seriously, 100% shout out to you for barbecuing for 3 hours straight. I witnessed you barbecuing with no shoes on. And that is dedication. It's,
Messing up my good shoes.
yeah, and I respect it. I know some leaders who would have just handed that task off to someone else, like, I'm not doing this, you guys go and do it. So to have a leader who is willing to roll up their sleeves and get in the trenches with you, that says a lot. That's a small thing, and the way that we do small things is how we do all things. So kudos to you. That's all I have.
Well, I appreciate it. Now, be careful when you say we're getting out early if I'm last. I'm just saying. But I think you'd rather have me be last than Trustee Piles, right? Just saying, she'd be talking forever. All right, so a couple of
Order.
things. Want to acknowledge Trustee Beard. It's great seeing you here. Thank you. It's great seeing you here. I know you voted for me 2 years ago, so it's great to see you. And actually, what you have done, you know, you sat in today, and that was very helpful. Some of the knowledge that you bring, so thank you so much for coming. I heard you loud and clear about exploration at the middle school. Middle school should be about exploration, okay? So I'm going to kind of take a look at that, because on the flip side, if students don't have the skills, sometimes you have to double up and give them math because they didn't get it. And it never feels good for students, never, to have a second academic class that's supposed to be your elective. And then sometimes that works against us because middle school, they need the exploration and don't need another math. So I will address that. I don't know what I can do, but I understand, but I will get back to you about that. Nobody talked about Chartwells. So I guess that's a good thing. Nobody said anything about Chartwells. I've seen them here. They've met with Mr. Brock 1 or 2 times. I believe I saw them again today. They're visible, and I really appreciate what they're doing. I haven't had complaints at this point, and I hope not to have complaints. So that seemed to go rather seamless, even though it was a shocker at the board table, but it went seamless, so thank you. To my cabinet, thanks. It's been a hard 4 months for me. I think you all know that in a lot of respects. So appreciate the support. Love working with you all. We have great times, laughs, sometimes not laughs, all that kind of stuff. I almost cringed today when the 3 of us were in the room and the door knocked. Someone was knocking on the door. I was like, please don't be Dr. Gardner. Please don't. And I opened it as Dr. Gardner. I'm like, we were just talking for a second. That's all. I just came in. But there is no good old boys club. We just have a good time, the 4 of us, plus Eve now and Adam. Great, you know, your leadership is great. I know you don't like to get up at the microphone, but your leadership is great. I see the things that you're doing, and keep doing it, please, on behalf of the students and the families. I had mentioned something real fast. I mentioned in an email to board members about FOIA. I wasn't saying that you have to, you know, I'm going to make your FOIA or anything, not at all. All I'm saying is that there are certain questions that we really need to consider how they're answered, okay? Because it's a small community, everybody talks around here anyway. So I don't want to put that on you, and it's like, oh, he's going to make it. I'm not going to make you do that kind of stuff. I'm just saying, if we can just be a little bit mindful of some of the questions, what's a need versus what's a want in terms of getting it to you, and all of those things. Next, Bratz barbecuing back to school and the golf outing, the birdies. It just shows the different type of events, because our community is very diverse. Golf isn't for everybody. They're not interested. Neither is barbecue. Everybody's not interested. But just understand your community and be willing to fail. I feel like I'm willing to fail for kids and everybody else, that I'm going to try something. And if it fails, oh well, you can't ever say I didn't try. So I'm going to continue to push that envelope and try to unite a community that I personally feel is not necessarily on the same page, a little bit fractured from what I see. So I will continue to do those events, and I want to thank you all for showing up. And the last thing is Friday. You will see our new football field. It is done. It should be done tomorrow. I'm encouraging you, even if you don't like football, okay? Most of you in here are taxpayers. You need to see, and that's one of the things that I'm working on. I'm going to make certain that we go around with our photographer and get pictures of all the things that the Sinking Fund has done for this community. It's amazing from 2 years ago to where we are now, the things that I've seen. But there's a lot of things that have happened in the community based on the Sinking Fund and the support of the school district. I don't want to scare people, but the bond is going to be, I don't want to say it's phasing out. We're going to have to come back to the community where you actually can save money, okay, tax-wise and still re-up on the bonds and continue the work that we're doing. But come out and see that football field, support our team. They're 2-1. We have the cheerleaders that'll be out there. I thought the band was going to be out there, but I believe Ms. Reyes told me they're going to do the pre and then go somewhere after that, right?
Yep, Parade of Lights.
And Parade of Lights. And so I guess for the community out, the last thing is there's Parade of Lights, okay? All weekend, as I believe, okay? Come on out and support Romulus. Thank you, everybody, for showing up. And thank you for getting us out of here. All of you getting us out of here early.
Motion to adjourn?
Support.
Aye.